So Shawn Kemp has an ownership stake in a pot shop in the city of Seattle. And I will say it kind of felt up until this story that this year I don't think we've had an instance in which a pot shop had been targeted in any way, shape, or form. Usually we get a story at least a couple times a week in which either a pot shop or a corner store has a stolen vehicle driven right through it. We did get a story yesterday, a tip yesterday of something that happened in Kenmore that we're looking into, of just that stolen vehicle being driven to a storefront. So this is, I think, the first pot shop robbery of the year. So congratulations.
Is there like a trophy?
Yeah, I think there is. You smoke it. It's called a bong. That would be a good The trophy is usable as a bong.
The golden bong.
On Saturday morning, according to KOMO TV, Kemp's cannabis store was broken into by, quote, a sophisticated burglar who was likely using stolen fire department issued life-saving tool, which was the Jaws of Life. He used the Jaws of Life in order to break in and, I guess, steal money from an ATM.
We usually have a roll-down gate that's here. They were able to cut through the gate with a Jaws of Life tool.
Oh, interesting. And you can see in the surveillance footage, would you call it a struggle with the Jaws of Life in the ATM?
Kinda. I mean,
Right. I'm on the fence. It did look at least like he was, and I believe it's a he based on the surveillance, but I know I don't see race. Although in this, or race, well,
that too.
I don't see that either, but gender. And in this case, you can't really see anything because of the mask the person is wearing. But this person did put in some effort here. Did put in some effort once he broke into the business. You see him parking a green truck, jumping out, disabling a surveillance camera on the outside of the building, then used an axe and the Jaws of Life to break through the glass and gates of the business that Shawn Kemp just told KOMO about, goes inside, then goes to the ATMs. You can see it on the camera. He's prying them open with the Jaws of Life so that he can pull out as much cash as he can. And you can see him then carrying the money back to his car, then going back into the business to steal merchandise, steal some of whatever's in the display. I'm assuming it's not weed because I don't think you can just leave it there. So I'm assuming it's either vaping materials or anything you can use to smoke the weed. And, it's just one of those stories that's reminiscent of literally every other one that's been like this, in which they know that even if someone were to call 911, the chances of getting in Seattle a cop to respond quickly is very, very slim. They are not staffed the way that they need to be. And Shawn Kemp thinks that he doesn't know if he was targeted per se, but it seems like it's possible. And it certainly seemed, based on the surveillance footage, like the person knew where to go immediately, knew where at least one of the cameras was to disable it. And now he's saying because the cops can't respond fast enough, he might have to take matters into his own hands.
Your name is on the building. Do you feel like you're getting targeted because of the standing you have in the community?
Could be.
Do you think that you have to have private security here because Seattle police won't show up?
Well, I think so. I think we're going to have to look into some other types of security.
Hopefully it's not him with a gun, like allegedly in Tacoma. Remember that story from last year?
I do, yes.
Was it last year? No, it was 2 years ago. So they also over at KOMO spoke to the co-owner, Tran Du, who fears the city is pretty much going to sit this one out until someone gets seriously hurt.
Do we really have to wait until somebody gets hurt before the city takes action?
The better question is, why do we have to wait? And if you want to get more specific, how many people need to get hurt and or killed before the city truly takes action? Because it always seems like they wait until politically they have no choice but to do something. And when it came to the King County Metro bus driver who was stabbed to death in Seattle, you got that special meeting on Monday in the King County Council. Why? Because the person who called it is running to replace Dow Constantine as King County executive. Politically, Claudia Balducci felt like she had to say and do something. And right now, politically, the mayor of Seattle, Bruce Harrell, does not feel the pressure to do anything. He just does not feel the pressure. It's not like this is the only story we've ever covered like this. Happens all the time.
To protect the businesses that are, paying taxes to the city, to the state.
But you see, we're all saps because we follow rules, we pay our taxes, we do what we're supposed to do. Every once in a while, sure, we'll jaywalk. But for the most part, we actually follow the law. And we get punished for it. And if all of a sudden we decide, you know what, I'm not going to pay my taxes anymore, we'll still get punished for it. I don't know at what point do folks in Democrat-run government agencies, at what point do they say, oh, you're a bad guy, so I'm going to go ahead and fight for you instead of helping the people you're harming, right? There, you have to cross the line at some point. I think it has to do with identity, socioeconomic background. Maybe they'll give you a pass. But you do know that if Trandu doesn't pay his B&O tax, yeah, he's going to get in trouble for it. The person who breaks in using the jaws of life that he stole from a fire department somewhere, if that person does get caught, guarantee you nothing happens. Guarantee nothing happens. And as much as I understand Shawn Kemp here, when you say you still have a soft spot for Seattle when something like this happens, you're kind of sending mixed messages.
Does it give you any pause in being part of a business like this?
It does. It makes you think, but I think we do pretty good business here.
With all of this other stuff happening, do you still love this city?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Still got a lot of love for the city.
See, the better answer is they're making it hard for me to love this city. That's the reality for those of you who live in, say, Auburn, which is dealing with significant crime, or Tacoma, or Spokane, or insert whatever city. The better answer is, man, I want to love Tacoma the way I once did, but the truth is I can't love it the way that I once did because of what it's become. But if we can get back to where we were, where things felt good, where we felt safe, where I wasn't feeling uncomfortable walking at night in my own neighborhood, if we got back to that point, yeah. Of course I'd love this city again, but you're making it harder than it's supposed to be for me to love the place where I'm from. That's a better answer.